Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1402A, and today's date is October 16th, 2017, and the title of the episode is, The Last Two Times We Saw This, the economy was in a recession. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, as we can see, the retail apocalypse is continuing. It has not stopped, and we saw it with Toys R Us and many of the smaller stores, and we're starting to see that Sears, well, it is completely crashing right now. One of the individuals on the board has resigned. We see Nordstrom is also having a problem. They were trying to go private, and it looks like that is not going to work out either, and it looks like their shares are tumbling right now. It looks like they're going to be having problems. We also have stores like Bon-Ton and many others that are having problems. And what we're seeing is this is right before the holiday season. And we're moving into the time frame where this is where the stores either make it or it breaks them. And we saw after last holiday season, many of the stores, well, they didn't do so well, and they announced many closures during the period of time when everything should be going very well because it is the holiday season. Now, the department store industry is not doing well at all. I mean, Dillard's is down negative 2.8%, Macy's down negative 1.9%, Ross Stores down negative 0.6%, JCPenney down negative 3%. And this is spreading very quickly. And again, after this holiday season, I think we're going to see many more stores close, a lot more layoffs, because we need to understand why this is happening. Now, of course, the corporate media, the government, and everyone else wants to make you believe that everything is going to online. But when we look at the actual numbers of online, remember, retail is a $1 trillion business. And when the corporate media is out there saying, well, it's the Amazon effect and it's taking over everything, and they say, well, they did $10 billion worth of sales, it's tiny compared to a $1 trillion market. Plus, online sales is only 10% of all retail sales. So everything can't be going to Amazon. It makes no sense whatsoever. And many of these corporations, they have an online presence where they have an online website. You can get everything. Actually, you can get a lot more on their website than you can get in the stores. Plus, they have an added benefit. You don't have to wait for delivery. You can order it, drive right to the store, and pick it up. And of course, the corporate media, they don't really want to tell, or the government, or the Fed, they really don't want to tell you what's really going on. I mean, think about how many people have lost their jobs, how many stores have been closing, how many of those people have lost their jobs. What they don't want you to realize is that people don't have the funds. They don't have the money, they're not making the salaries, they're getting laid off, they're getting lower paying jobs. We know wages are continually declining. This is the real problem. Think about this and go back in time. And we've mentioned this before, but during the height of the crisis of 2008 going into 2009, 2010, the official unemployment numbers was, 10% or so. These are the U3 numbers. Ever since then, unemployment has come down. Now, since that time, retail has been getting worse and worse and worse. Remember, they can't make people spend their money. They can make people or entice people to take out loans, like for an automobile, where they can say, hey, listen, 0% down. You're not using any money of your own because you don't have any. And all you have to do is make monthly payments. And actually, we'll even defer the monthly payments for like a month or two. And people, jump onto this and say, okay, let's do this. They can do it with housing. They can say, hey, listen, no money down, or we'll give you a very low interest rate, or we'll pay off your student loans if you purchase a home. Now, this is borrowing. This is not spending. You didn't take anything out of your account. Most of this stuff is without money down. Retail is a little different. First of all, if your credit cards are maxed, you're going to have to use your own funds. And if you don't have these funds, guess what? You're not going to make a purchase. And this is the first place that we see a problem in the economy. And this is the first place that we looked, we realized it, we understood it, and we put the pieces together and realized that this was just going to get worse as time moves along here. Now it's going to spread. It's going to spread to the auto industry, which is already happening because we know how they calculate sales. We know how they channel stuff the lots. And every time they place more cars on a lot, that's counted as a sale. It's not when someone purchases a car. We also know with housing that interest rates are at their lowest they've ever been, and they can barely move homes. Remember, a lot of the homes sold are from hedge funds, investment companies, foreign investors. The everyday American person sitting on the sidelines. Manufacturing, that's not going well either. Now, what's very interesting is the Empire Fed survey came out, and it soared to its highest in 8 years. Now, remember, this is the survey. This is not the hard data. And when we look at the hard data, what do we see? Well, we see something very interesting. We see that, well, inventories, new orders, they have plunged. Work hours have plunged, which again makes no sense when you look at the survey, when you look at the soft data. The hard data is moving and going absolutely nowhere. Now, we're starting to see some recession red flags, more indicators that are letting us know that there is a definite problem in the economy. Now, the last 2 times, the spread between the 30-year and 5-year Treasury bonds was below 90 BPS, the U.S. economy entered a recession. And this is what we are seeing right now. Now, this is probably nothing, but we've been seeing a lot, and we've been tracking a lot of these indicators, and they're really all pointing to a major recession headed our way. And we know already, just from Janet Yellen coming out saying, listen, we're not going to see any type of crisis in our lifetime, that was the flare that was shot into the sky, letting us know that a recession is coming. It's almost like when Bernanke announced that they're not forecasting any type of recession anytime soon. That was the beginning of 2008. By the end of 2008, we were entering a recession. Actually, it happened way before that, but that's when the stock market collapsed. So what's very interesting is Richard Silas, and there have been many other individuals that track this. They track patterns, they track cycles, and he is a professor at the Stern School of Business, co-author with Sidney Homer of The Magisterial, A History of Interest Rates, and they've studied past business cycles. And he's been looking at the crisis and saying, listen, we've studied these cycles, we've done enough analysis, we look back in history, and right now they're putting the probability of a repeat of what happened back in 2008 around 70 to 80% chance that this is going to happen again. And I'm going to say this chance is much, much higher, because if you put in all the manipulation and everything that the central bank has done, listen, we're living in an illusionary world right now where they have convinced us that the economy is fine. And everyone's saying, well, how can they do this? This is impossible. Go back to 2006, 2007. You were living in an illusionary world at that time. What do you mean by that? The subprime securities, which rated AAA, we now know that they weren't. Most of the individuals encapsulated in these subprime securities, they were defaulting on their loans. And everything started to spread, but they pretended and they kept the illusion alive. They never admitted it until the very end. The same thing is happening right now. Everyone today is living in an illusionary world. When they pull the plug, the truth is going to come out, just like the truth came out when the plug was pulled back in 2008. And when the market comes down, this is the last thing that they have left to convince everyone that the economy's fine. Once the stock market comes down, because the economy has already been coming down. We've been watching everything decline over time. The only thing they have left is the stock market. If this fell by 50% today, or 40%, or 30%, guess what? Corporations would use this as an excuse to lay off a huge amount of people. They would cut costs, and we would be in a recession right now. Even though they told us all the way up to this point that we're fine. Now, their trick is that they've been telling us we're fine, and because of the stock market coming down, that's the indicator of the official recession. No, the recession has been happening all along. The economy has been deteriorating all along. We've been watching it. We've been tracking it. And the reason why we've been doing this is to make sure that they can't fool us that this just happened because the market came down. And we're getting to that point where they can't cover up this illusion anymore. We're getting to that point, and we can see with pensions, we can see it with these GDP numbers, we can see it with the retail numbers, we can see it with the automobile industry, we can see it with the housing industry. I mean, just like in 2008, everyone thought the housing market was fine. People kept on flipping. People kept on buying more homes. At the same time, people were leaving their homes in California because the interest rates, they had variable interest rate loans, and they were moving up and they couldn't afford them anymore. And they were just leaving everything in their house and just leaving. And that got worse and worse and worse. And all of a sudden, confidence was lost. The market came down. Corporations started to lay off thousands upon thousands of people. People didn't know what to do. Everyone was blindsided. Well, we're headed to the same exact thing. And all these individuals that are forecasting the entire system coming down, it's pretty much the same people that were forecasting the crisis of 2008. And of course, no one believed them at that time, and no one's believing them now. Because everyone has gotten so used to the central bank, the government putting out all this fake information. They're so used to the fake information, they don't know what's real anymore. And what's really real here is that we've been looking at all these different aspects of the economy, and each one is flashing recession, 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 recession. And when credit freezes, when the market comes down and everything implodes, everyone's going to sit there and go, what just happened? Except for us, because we've been watching this, we've been tracking it. And this is why you need to be ready and prepared. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.